everybody, Corn-Fed Lady here, and today I'm going to take you on a little tour of our homestead and show you what's been going on. So come along with me. So first up here we have our side yard flock, and this is actually an integrated flock. They've started out from many different places. Let me get this gate latched. Okay, so first up, we've got Moo Moo, and he's our rooster in here. You could hear him crowing a minute ago. Hey, Aggie. And this is Aggie. She's very bossy and pecky, and she is, the offspring that we've hatched from the backyard flock that we'll see in a minute. Blondie is also one of the offspring from the backyard flock that we've hatched, and she's completely buff Orpington, whereas Aggie is half buff Orpington and half barred rock, because over there we have a mixture of barred rocks and buff Orpingtons. And then this little girl back in here with Moo Moo is the one that came with him. Now, we had to adopt these two from another home because they were moving somewhere where they couldn't have chickens. So they've been rehomed here on our farm for just over a year now. So this is the original pair, Moo and Opal, and we hatched some of their eggs too. And that's where we got Fancy Feet and Sham Shams. And we hatched all of their eggs and got Pearl, hey Aggie, and Sweetheart, and this one next to her is Itty Bits, and the one next to her is Effie. So this is actually 3 different generations of chickens in here. And they were all either adopted or hatched from the chickens here on our farm. I'm gonna have to fix your water. Girls. Hey, Gabs. And this is Gabby Kitty. She's our farm boss. And sometimes she wanders around in the neighbor's cornfields instead of staying here helping out. Hi, Gabs. What do you know about that? Hi, Gabs. Gabby Kitty does a really good job at keeping the mice and other little critters at bay so that they don't eat all of our animal feed. So she plays a very important role here, other than just looking cute and being a friend. And Gabs, she is a good friend. All right, let's go see the other animals. Are you coming? And in the backyard, we currently have our baby bunny rabbit tractors, and they kind of do a march around the house. They start off in the front yard up there, and the tractors get moved a little bit each day. You can see the spots where they used to be, kind of little dead spots in the grass. Now those will actually thrive over time. They're just kind of dead right now because the rabbits have been eating the grass and peeing on it, which kind of burns it a little bit. But they also leave behind rabbit poop. Well, and sometimes rabbit food that gets kicked out of the tray. But they leave behind quite a bit of rabbit poop. And this rabbit poop is a dry fertilizer, which means that it's a dry poop, and you can use it right away. So it's just these little tiny pellets. You can see they're very dry. You can put these right into your garden. You don't have to compost them first. So rabbit poo is actually kind of gold for your garden because it's fertilizer that's free that you can use right away. Baby bunnies are mostly hiding out because it's midday and they don't really care for the bright sun. They're more nocturnal. This one came out to say hi though, didn't you? We actually have 34 baby bunnies in here. You wouldn't believe it by seeing just one, but there's, 8 to 10 in each cage about. Now these baby bunnies are just over 2 months old, and we do raise rabbits for meat on our homestead. So eventually all these baby bunnies in here will be going to our freezer camp, which is kind of a nice way of saying we'll process them into meat. So they will get processed at about 3 months old, so they've just got a couple more weeks left. And you can see they're already getting pretty big for just a couple months old. So they grow out really fast, which is why we use this mixed breed of New Zealand and Flemish Giant. Let's get babies. They're kind of sleepy midday. Now I do treat all of our animals with love and care. So even these meat rabbits that stay in these cages for about 6 weeks, they get plenty of treats, and we move them onto fresh grass every morning and every night. We fill up their food and water in there for them every morning and every night. So they get plenty of love and care. I give them pets. Sometimes I'll pick one up out of the cage and give it some hugs. They seem to enjoy that. Hi. So they do get all the love and care and space and everything that they need to live a comfortable life. Again, they're only in these cages for about 6 weeks. So the first 6 weeks of their life, they spend with their moms, and they nurse, and they are just in a little nursing box in their mom's cage, and I'll throw up some old footage of that for you so you can see. And take them out and make sure they look good to me. So they spend about 6 weeks in there with their mom so that they can nurse. And then after 6 weeks, they are weaned. They're no longer nursing off of their moms. And at that time, we move them outside here into their grow-out cages, where they spend the next 6 weeks. So that's a total of 12 weeks. Again, we go for about a 3-month harvest date on these rabbits. And they end up about 5 or 6 pounds live weight, which is, weighing them while they're still alive and fully intact. And by the time we get them cleaned and in the pot, they're about 3 or 4 pounds of meat each. So generally a rabbit will last us 2 evenings for just my husband and I. So again, if you're interested in this breed, it is a mix of New Zealand and Flemish Giant. All right, Gabs. Sounds like Mr. Frankie wants to be next. That's him crowing back there. Let's say hi to the turkeys on the way, okay? Yeah. And Mr. Frankie and the backyard chickens are behind that blue blind, which you can hear him crowing away. We'll check him out in a minute. The next up here is our blue slate turkeys. And this one is not a blue slate, in case you hadn't noticed. It looks a little different than the other ones. We had ordered 6 blue slate turkeys with the intent on keeping as many as we could as breeders, and then basically sending the extra boys to freezer camp. So we've ended up with 4 girls and 3 boys, which means we'll be able to keep the 4 girls and 1 boy. So we've got to process 2 boys. Now the 3 boys are these ones standing right in front of us. This one is the oddball. We had ordered 6 blue slates, but they also sent us a 7th turkey for free. They didn't say what kind it was, but we've looked it up and figured out that it's a royal palm. So the decision begins, which of the 3 to keep. And if you're wondering if these turkeys are planning on staying in this little hoop coop all winter, the answer is no. My husband has been working on building a turkey house for them way out there past the trees behind the vegetable garden. So let me show you that while we're over there by the veggie garden. All right, let's go back and see the chickens in the backyard. Hi, Gabby Kitty. And the backyard chickens are Gabby Kitty's best friends, because when she was a baby and when the chickens were babies, they grew up in this barn side by side together. So she's known those chickens in the backyard her whole life and their whole life. And Gabs, which has been about 2 years. And in the backyard flock, we have all of the surviving girls from the original 12 chicks that we bought as the first animals on our homestead. The first 12 chicks actually came before Gabby Kitty. So they really were the first animal or animals on our homestead. The one coming towards us is Mr. Frankie, and he has been known to spur me, so I'm going to skedaddle before he does. See him doing his little fancy dance on the hens? Sometimes he'll do that little fancy dance at me right before he tries to attack me. And one time he was actually successful at attacking me, and he clawed me up with his spurs so bad that it poked holes through my boots. Didn't it, Mr. Frankie? So we're gonna get out of his face before he has a little frantic fit. Now the backstory on Mr. Frankie is that he came from another home, and he was adopted by us because he was being an aggressive rooster. Which to us is not really an issue. As you can see, I just kind of step out of the area if he comes towards me. If I do need to tend to something in the chicken yard, I will simply pick up a rake and carry it in there with me. So here's what I do. I simply hold the rake out in front of my body. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm not shaking it. I'm not waving it around in the air. I'm just holding it out in front of me, and I walk. And he walks away. So if you do have an aggressive rooster that either you can't tame, like this one, or that maybe you just don't have the time or, you know, the whereabouts to train, one easy solution that I found is just carry a rake in front of you. And not only will the rooster move away from you, but you can actually herd chickens because they'll all follow around in front of the rake. So if you want to move your chickens or if you want to protect yourself from a rooster, all it really takes is an old garden rake. You can see it works perfect. Now on the back acre of our property we have pigs, and these ones are just meat pigs. We don't have any breeders yet, although we would like to breed pigs one day. What'd you guys do to your bowl? Now we did have a platform here with some bowls nailed to it, but they kept ripping them up. So these bowls that we had in the tires were working real well, and we just had 2 of them, so we got 2 more. But you can see they've already ripped one of the bowls out of those. Now these are a little bit different bowls. So maybe they just need to get screwed down or something. Let's see if we can get that one out of there without getting zapped. That'd be fun. Get your face out of there. Do it. No, no, get your fat face out of there. Come out of there. Give me that. That is it. Now that the pigs have moved on, let's see if we can sneak this bowl back in. Now I'm stuck on the fence. And these pigs get watermelon every day. They get cucumbers every day. And all those things come fresh out of our garden. Right over there. And we'll take a look at that in a minute. You guys even have your own little personal spa with your mud baths. And they get a shower every morning and every night with the hose. So again, even though these are meat animals, they're well cared for, they're well loved, and they are beyond spoiled. They have also gotten all 3 of their paddocks open now. So this is their original main paddock with their food, water, shelter. Then we've also opened up this gate so they can get into the second paddock. And as you can see, they beat it down pretty good after about a month. And then we opened up the 3rd gate, or the gate to the 3rd paddock. And so now they can come all the way down here too. Are you guys helping tell the story? And as you can see, they've already got it pretty well beat down too. Now, there is some green grass in here. Even though it's laid over and smushed over, it is still green and viable for them to munch on. But of course, they're trying to find all the good fun treats first, which is why they mash all the grass down. But that is still hay that they can eat and that they will eat, just like they have been out of that second paddock, which is why it's mostly dirt in there. So at some point, they will eat and root up the grass as well. So again, the whole point of what we're doing here is trying to raise animals in a more humane way so that they can live comfortable lives, however short they may be, and to whatever end purpose they may serve. We still believe that every animal deserves a happy, comfortable life with loved ones around who care about them, and with friends, and with adventures, and all of that good stuff in life. So even our meat animals like these ones that will be gone in a couple months, we really try to spoil and make comfortable while they're here. All right, let's go take a look at that garden. Now, before I get started in here, I am going to apologize ahead of time for the weeds. We've had a lot of things going on in our personal lives, so I've kind of let things just go crazy out here, which has a beauty of its own too. So you'll see some of these natural wildflowers mixed in with things like the carrots here on the end. And just under my feet here are cantaloupe. And I've marked them with these little neon colored flags so that they're easier to find and check on each day. So these cantaloupe will turn from not ready, which means that there's still a lot of green in there in between what's called the spangling. This little funny pattern here in the middle is called the spangling. And the color in between there is still a pretty dark green, and it should be tan or almost orange. Now, these lines that go between the spangling, those can still be green when you pick them, but the spaces in between the spangling itself needs to be a lot lighter color than that. So then in this dense patch here, we actually have another one called Tender Sweet, and they're green on the outside. This one's about ready to pick for the pigs. Yep, tendrils dried up. It's green on the outside, and it is almost like a peach color on the inside. The picture on the seed packet that I had showed it being kind of orange, but I find them to be a lot more pale than that. And you can see here's that nice white spot on the bottom. It covers just about half of the bottom area here, and it's really bright white. So this one is good to go. We'll go ahead and feed this one to the pigs just so you can see what it looks like inside. We'll leave it there for now though. And then on the end down here, we have my favorite, which is the Crimson Sweet. And you can see one of those right here. I've been keeping my eye on this one. And it's kind of confusing. There's a lot of tendrils around here. There is the tendril to this watermelon. So again, what you want to do is kind of move things aside, look at your watermelon, follow the stem of the watermelon to where it connects to the vine, and then search that area. There should be a leaf. This one's kind of breaking off, and there should also be a tendril. Once that entire tendril has turned brown, almost black, and shriveled up, then it's ready. Now these watermelons here, the Crimson Sweet, they get pretty large. So this is only about half size so far. And it's like 2 hand widths. They get pretty big. There's another one over there. Now in the back of the garden here, we've got some sunflowers. And I'm not sure how tall they are, at least 10 foot. And there's a few of those flower heads up on top. And we do plan on saving the seeds from those flower heads to feed to our chickens and turkeys and whatever. And just under those sunflowers is the row of cucumbers that I've been making pickles from. If you haven't seen the pickle making video, make sure you go back and watch that after this one. Now, just behind the vegetable garden, I told you we were building a turkey house. And so far, this is what my husband has produced. We're actually using pretty much the same design that we used for the side yard chicken house over there for this turkey house. And this is going to house 5 turkeys. We're going to fence in around their house and all the way down the side of the fruit orchard here. So you can see there's 2 rows of fruit trees. Just between the last row of fruit trees here and this fence, where our Wi-Fi post is, this whole area here is going to be fenced in all the way down to that old truck on the end. So all the way down there and all the way up to this chicken house is going to be their yard. We made it long and narrow intentionally because turkeys are flighty. So this way it'll be easier to net over the entire enclosure so that they won't fly out and end up at the neighbors or down at the creek. All right, well, let's get this watermelon out to them pigs, and then I'll show you our breeder rabbits up front, which are the last animals that I have yet to share. Oh, they're on to me now. I got your watermelon! And I just toss it up and let it Gallagher explode itself. There you go, guys. That's good, pigs. Watermelon is by far their favorite. They do also enjoy a bit of cucumbers. All right, let's go check on them rabbits out front, and I'll explain a little bit better about what we've got planned for them. Now, this Big Bunny setup, or the breeder rabbit setup, is one structure that we have extended or made an expansion to. The older breeders are on this side, the younger breeders are on that side. They do stay in here 24/7 for now. I am working on fencing in a play yard for these adult rabbits so that they can come out. I'll shut this gate and they'll be able to come out and play in the shade under this tree. And the hostas, which I've already researched, are fine for them to nibble on. And they'll be able to play under the shade of this tree. And they have this entire area here that's mostly fenced in. Really all I have left to do is finish up this corner, which is kind of a disaster right now because life hits you like a hurricane sometimes. So you can see where I left off right here. And so I've fenced all the way around up to here. So I need to finish covering this with the chicken wire so that they can't dig out underneath or other things dig in. And then I need to figure out how to secure that corner. And underneath here, there's a pretty good gap. So I'm gonna have to make sure to get that covered up. And probably the most challenging part is going to be up front here. Now I know it's only a small section right here in the middle and a little bit under here, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to cover up these holes without stopping the airflow into the space here where we have our breeder rabbits, because the air flows in through these gaps and holes and up and out through the roof line. So we have gaps on top and gaps on bottom to help these breeder rabbits get good airflow and be comfortable in here. So I don't want to block up the little holes, but I have to keep the rabbits from running out. Okay, so my battery just died on my camera, which is telling me this video is probably already going on too long. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here and tell y'all thanks for following along, and hopefully we'll have this rabbit run up and running soon, and who knows what the next video will bring. Y'all have a good one.